What? Yeah, turns out that's a thing. We all have our own insecurities, and chances are they're probably the thing that's getting in the way of doing the thing that you want to do. You see, our brains are 100% programmed to enjoy and thrive off what's familiar. Unfortunately for us, what's familiar isn't necessarily the most productive or even enjoyable thought processes that we could have. How many times have you done something a little bit different to your regular routine and then felt a little bit like uncomfortable, as if something was wrong? I did my taxes early this year and I am freaking out because I am not used to being this organized. Our brains function off repetition and they really love what's familiar. So when we do something that's a little bit alien to us, we can experience things like dread, anxiety, even physical pain like stomach aches or nausea. This conflict can have crossover into every part of our life, from work to finances to fitness, and I honestly believe that self-sabotage is the #1 cause why people struggle to keep the weight off. But this isn't even your fault. You see, when we have an action that goes against one of our fundamental beliefs, it causes what's called cognitive dissonance, which is basically your brain having an argument against itself. It's why behavior change is so hard. So there's an ideology called set point theory, which I think explains why some of us are so uncomfortable with the idea of being successful. Set point theory suggests that we have a certain range that we are comfortable operating within. And when we begin to step outside of the boundaries of this range, we start to feel a little bit uneasy and experience cognitive dissonance. This is where our brain steps in and begins to have a great idea to perform some self-sabotaging behaviors to help bring us back down to that set point where we are familiar and know how to operate. I'm sure some of you can relate. If somebody gives you a compliment, you just kind of stand there feeling uncomfortable. That's success intolerance. We have these set points for pretty much everything in our life, from how much money we're comfortable making to what time we're comfortable waking up. And to be honest, it's a pretty complicated thing to tackle. And in my experience, we can change these set points. And the key lies with our habits and routines. We can actually trick our brains into changing the way they think and the way they behave. When we repeat the same behavior over and over, our brains begin to rewire themselves and adapt to the new behaviors. This is called neuroplasticity, and we can actually hack this, but it takes a lot of conscious effort. If we try and overload ourselves with too many new behaviors, there simply isn't enough willpower in the world to override how stubborn our brain is. Instead, we take it one step at a time. We change one behavior and give it time. We need to give it all the time it needs to stick until it feels uncomfortable not to do it. There's no set limit for this, it's going to take as long as it takes. But once you've changed this new behavior into a habit, it becomes hard not to do. In my next video, I'm going to outline exactly how to create new positive habits and how to hack our brain's autopilot system and leverage it so that we can get the things that we want done without even trying. In the meantime though, have a think about what success intolerances you might be experiencing and might be on the verge of self-sabotage. But the good thing is, the more in tune you get with this process, the more you're able to check yourself and ask yourself whether this is actually what I want to do or is it my brain being a dickhead.